Hey friends, Peggy Hall back with you from thehealthyamerican.org. I did a video for you yesterday. Let's see if I can find that for you here. I'm going to be sharing some of these videos with you in just a moment, but this was the video I did for you yesterday about Charlie Kirk's statues and roads and how lawmakers were saying that there should be at least one road in every, I think it's every state, maybe every city, maybe every university. Somehow they want Charlie Kirk's name to be emblazoned everywhere, and of course statues as well. So I'm going to share with you a couple of stories about Charlie Kirk statues that are going up here in Florida, and then I also want to play with you a very quick clip of I'll share with you this video about the memorial and the statue going up. Then I want to share with you a very quick clip about Frank Turek, because I referenced his comments just kind of in passing, saying that he was now in favor of gun control. And so I wanted to find that reference for you. I also said that another evangelist named Ray Comfort also made that comment. I'm still trying to find that video clip. I am inundated. As you can see, I've got tons of windows open, so many tabs open, and so much research that I'm juggling here to bring you in these videos. So I've got this one for you that I'll share with you. And then as a follow-up from the video I just did about AI and digital IDs, I want to share with you this cute little website. So if you missed yesterday's video or any of my Charlie Kirk videos, you can see them on my Charlie Kirk playlist. I've got probably a couple of dozen. I'm doing a lot of coverage on that because it's such a great opportunity for critical thinking. It's not that I am that enthralled with Charlie Kirk or the incident, but it just is like easy pickings for us to really turn over every rock, gather the clues, and come face to face with the truth and reality that the bad guys are trying to pull a fast one on us. And I just don't like to have the wool pulled over my eyes. So together we can read between the lies and we can bring these things out. So that's what I've got. Now, let me share this with you here. So this, let me know if you think this is creepy. I think it's creepy. It's a sculpture of Jesus and Charlie Kirk to be installed at Ave Maria University in Florida. This is a picture of the sculptor himself, and this comes from a Catholic website. And I will say that there have been some comments I've seen from Catholics who are not in favor of this at all. So let me give you a close-up. I'm just giving you a little fair warning in case you don't want to see the next image. This is what it looks like. Oh, yes. The sculptor's name is Schmaltz. And it's interesting because schmaltz or schmaltzy has a connotation of something being kind of overly sappy, overly emotional, kind of schmaltzy, if I'm giving the right definition. That's sort of how I read into it. It's just interesting because I would say this really crosses the line. And there we've got apparently Jesus Christ embracing Charlie Kirk. What do you think about them apples, friends? Yeah. Is that a very, speaking of likeness, I just did a video about AI and deep fakes and having a copyright over your own likeness. That doesn't even really look like Charlie. I mean, he had a very unusual appearance, to put it mildly. This is the university, Ave Maria. So this is one that just caught my attention and caught my eye. And then this popped up in my news feed. And I realized that the audio may not be that easy to hear, but I want you to also look at the images. And we will play this. It's a Florida church honoring Charlie Kirk with a new memorial.
Political activist assassinated at a university in Utah last month is being honored both nationally and locally today, which would have been his 32nd birthday. At the White House garden, President Donald Trump posthumously awarded Charlie Kirk with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. His widow, Erica, accepted the award.
Oh, I have to interrupt. Some people said they saw Charlie Kirk in the mirror Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest one of all? Mirrors often are associated with witchcraft and the occult. I can do a separate video on that. But since this was in this clip, I thought I would point it out right here. I don't know if that is Charlie. I don't know if it's this person right here. If you watch the Rose Garden event, so to speak, you could see how this image goes in and out. And I did not see how it correlated with anyone in the audience because they were not moving at the same time that that image was. So just pointing it out, you can do your own research. Let me know if you have a good image of that. You could email me, support@thehealthyamerican.org.
Award. In St. Lucie County, a local church unveiled this memorial to remember Kirk's legacy. CBS 12's Antoinette Delbell attended the ceremony in Fort Pierce. She joins us now with more on how Kirk's legacy impacted this community. Annie?
This life-size monument was made by a stone company right here in Fort Pierce, but
I have to interrupt again. Now, I do find it interesting that it was made by a stone company and that this monument is on a stone. I'm sure there are plenty of monuments that are made out of stones, but since we are doing our education and learning about Freemasonry, which has to do with the Masons, meaning stone masons, and how that is their profession or their trade, I should say, and how this secret society that is not that secret anymore. A lot of people know about it. It's the largest fraternal organization. It started back in like 1700 something around there. And it was all based on the tools and the rituals of stonemasons. So I find it very, very interesting because they very clearly say that their symbols and signs and language is all taken from the trade of stonemasons. So I just thought it was interesting that this is on a stone. It could be completely coincidental. I guess I have to give that disclaimer every time I make a video for people who say, well, Peggy, that could be just a coincidence. Oh, I never thought that it could be a coincidence. All right, we'll just ignore it then. Okay, let's continue.
the boulder actually came from North Carolina. Church leaders say they hope people come here to reflect on Kirk's influence and what he stood for.
Now, I could be wrong. I think the first Freemasonry lodge was in South Carolina. So I don't know if the point that this came from North Carolina is significant, but I collect all those clues in case I need them later when I connect the clots.
Hey everyone, 3, 2, 1.
Treasure Coast Baptist Church in Fort Pierce unveiled the stone monument during a moving ceremony Tuesday on what would have been Charlie Kirk's 32nd birthday. The conservative activist is pictured on the 6-foot-tall boulder holding a Bible and the American flag.
It's a way of giving back to the community. It's just a way of serving God.
Funded entirely by the community.
I think it's beautiful.
The dedication brought this 15-year-old girl to tears. These two sisters wore the same shirt Kirk was wearing that horrific day on September 10th when he was assassinated while speaking at Utah Valley University.
I have to interrupt again. This is what is so troubling to me. This intentional traumatizing of individuals by focusing on these monuments, and there will be movies and the t-shirts and the ongoing idea that this man was a martyr. First of all, we don't even know what happened because, as I will say again, there was no blood that was consistent with that type of bullet and wound that we were told happened. There was no bloody trail. There was no blood all over the security team that acted very strangely. Rather than protect Charlie by drawing their weapons and taking cover, they immediately dragged him away without even assessing any wound or injury or calling 911. There was no ambulance on the scene. There was no medical report. There was no bullet recovered. There was no burial. There was no body ever seen. So first of all, we can't even conclude with evidence and logic that that even happened, yet it's being shown again and again to create these emotional responses. This poor young lady was visibly moved. And dare I say, this looks authentic. These look like authentic emotions and authentic tears. Although this lady over here is having, maybe that's the mom, but this poor young lady, that looked sincere to me. Far more authentic than any of the so-called witnesses or friends or family or spouse or best friends of Charlie Kirk. So why is a stranger, a young girl, never met Charlie Kirk? She is moved to tears, yet no one else in his entourage could be. Days after, maybe even the same day, there was no sign of emotional strain or sorrow or loss. Friends, you've had losses and tragedies. Those stay with you forever. You are visibly changed. So this is very troubling to me, this intentional traumatizing of the individuals. I'm actually going to, let's see, there's a little bit more here.
A lot of negative people that speak ill of Charlie or what he stood for. I think that Charlie represented a lot of people.
Rick Palma is one of the assistant pastors at Treasure Coast Baptist Church who spearheaded the memorial.
Now it says, dedicated to all who have died for the cause of faith, freedom, and truth. Well, until we have a trial, and until there is actually a perpetrator who either admits to guilt or is found guilty and the information comes out, trust me, friends, it's not like I'm believing the official narrative at all. I've got dozens of videos questioning all of that. But in any kind of murder, there is evidence that is presented. There is a trial that occurs, and then a conclusion or a verdict is arrived at. So we don't know. Let's just buy their argument for a moment that there was a crazy person out to get Charlie. Well, do we know why? Maybe Charlie owed him money. Maybe it was a love triangle or something along those lines. Maybe there was a vendetta, a family vendetta from years back. All of these are possibilities. I'm not saying that is the case because, as I say, there's no body, so no burial and no bullet, therefore no death. But even going with their story, I don't care for this coming to the conclusion and arriving at a verdict in the media before the fake, phony, fraudulent circus even occurs. So no, we don't know any of that. So that's another thing that truly bothers me, among many things.
I noticed there's no memorials here for martyrs. There's no memorials here for Charlie.
A martyr? Excuse me, a martyr, a Christian martyr is where someone holds a gun to your head or a knife to your throat and says, denounce Christ right now, or I'm going to cut off your head. Denounce Christ right now, or I'm going to shoot you. Was Charlie being called to denounce anything? That's the true definition of a Christian martyr. So none of this adds up. And pastors were saying that he was a martyr. That would be a big NO.
We just wanted to have something special in the city of Fort Pierce that stands for more than just Charlie Kirk, but stands for truth and freedom and the faith that we have.
And the church is hoping to add a 31-foot tall flagpole behind the monument, 31 representing the age Charlie Kirk was when he died. But the church needs help. So if you'd like to donate.
Oh, yes, of course you can donate. And here's the church, Treasure Coast Baptist Church in Fort Pierce, Florida. So I thought that was very interesting. I want to share with you next this video from Frank Turek, and I have subtitles on here. I did a deep dive on his, oh my gosh, how long is this? Over an hour, really his confession, I guess. And what he is confessing is, let me go back here. Remember these pictures of the guy in the white hat sending the signals, raising his hat a couple of times and touching his nose. And then the fellow over here, I think his name is Brian. I can't remember, one of the bodyguards. And he was doing like baseball signals, like wiping his arm and doing like a water wheel with his hands. And here is a quick video for reference. And we'll just, so here's Frank and here's Charlie. Let me know in a comment, how far away do you think Frank is standing from Charlie? Now, I know that this is a telephoto lens, so it's not exactly accurate. There will be some distortion, but just drop a comment and let me know roughly how far away do you think he is. He's within this gated off, fenced off area.
In America over the last 10 years. Counting or not counting gang violence? Brennan, do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years? Counting or not counting gang violence?
Okay, here we have a better image. So here's Frank and here's Charlie. We're going to hear from Frank in just a moment. So you tell me how far away that is. That is important when we listen to Frank describe where he was and where Charlie was and what these signals were or weren't. So let's just watch it again. Now, this fellow back here under the word wrong also is doing some kind of gestures with his hands. And I will point out that there is a lightning bolt, which I found out doing my research today. Not only does that have to do with the fallen angel Lucifer, who came down as a lightning bolt or with a lightning bolt. And of course, there's a Masonic link with that as well, and witchcraft, and also Nazism. So I'm starting to think that not only was Charlie and these others throwing the signals that I was associating with Freemasonry, but they are very closely linked with German socialism, I'll put it that way, and especially the bent thumbs and some other gestures I found were very, very interesting. And it's not as though one group has the ultimate authority of what those gestures are. They borrow them from each other, the Scientologists, the occultists, the witchcraft, did I mention Scientologists, the Mormons, the Masons, the Freemasonry and Masons that are the same. So a lot of those are used by these different groups, and it means something to them. And that's what's important. We don't know, but they know. So you tell me if that little movement of the hat was to just readjust his hat. He had a tickle on his nose, and then the fellow wiping his arm and doing a little roller motion with his hands. And then this guy up here under the wrong word. It's very interesting that they're there because, yeah, it all looks pretty wrong. So let's watch again. Oops, let me replay that.
Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years? Counting or not counting gang violence? Brennan, do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years? Counting or not counting gang violence?
Okay, I did notice that this guy, this is really weird. So this guy back here in the white, he puts his knuckles together. I want to play that again. He puts his knuckles together. And I showed you in my previous videos how Benny Johnson does that. Charlie Kirk does that. I've seen pastors doing it. It's also a Masonic and possibly a Mormon gesture. I saw some Mormons doing it. I don't know if it was because they were Masons. So it's weird that the guy does that also.
Do you know how
up
many
here.
mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years? Counting or not counting?
See, he's doing his knuckles together. That's significant to me. I'm going to keep that clue and see if it makes sense down the road.
Gang violence.
I would say the guy in the black really, that's really significant. I don't think that was incidental at all. So let's listen from Frank Turek, and we're going to see what he has to say. This is about a 2-minute clip here.
Chins. Now, this is where you may have seen an internet conspiracy. The man in the white hat was giving signals to the shooter. Yeah, the man in the white hat was me, okay? I did this with my hat. Maybe I touched my nose or something while I'm holding my phone, because
that's another gesture right here that they do a lot, this C. I did a whole compilation of people doing that intentionally. I don't hold my phone like that. I've got the phone kind of in my palm a little bit. So that's a weird gesture to me right there.
I'm FaceTiming my son and daughter-in-law, and they're huge Charlie fans. So I'm maybe 30 feet from Charlie. I'm right off his right.
30 feet? Come on, man. 30 feet. Remember I asked you to look at that image? Come on, man. Come on, man. Is that 30 feet? That would be a big NO.
Right elbow. I'm standing probably just off camera if the camera's going forward on him. Maybe about his 3:30 or 4 o'clock, and I'm just filming away.
There it is again.
And by the way, to show you how stupid this is.
Did he actually refute that he was sending signals? You see, that's what they do. I showed you with the Mossad Israeli spy, that is the much younger girlfriend of Kash Patel. She never refuted when she was asked if you were a spy. She said, oh my gosh. And she completely went off on a different direction. And that's what he's doing as well. He's just saying people are stupid if they think that.
They thought Dan, his main security guy, was giving signals too.
Yeah, those weren't signals. They look like signals to me. I was going to find that again. They sure look like signals to me.
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Yeah, no signals.
Signals for what? You don't need signals. There's a sniper up there. He doesn't need anyone to signal anything. He can look through his scope and see what's going on. What do you think? He's looking through his scope and going, what's the signal? What am I? It's crazy.
Also pushing the narrative of a sniper where there clearly wasn't.
People actually believe this stuff. But you know, if it's on the internet, it must be true, right? Don't believe in these crazy conspiracy theories. You need evidence.
That's what we're looking for, Frank. We're looking for evidence. We're looking for the bullet. Actually, I think it's required. You have to have some kind of murder weapon, don't you? We're looking for blood that would be consistent, spurting like a geyser from an artery that doesn't just plop down like a squib device that I showed on my very first broadcast on September 10th that they use for Hollywood movie magic. That's the kind of evidence we're looking for, Frank. We're looking for a blood-drenched white t-shirt. I guess the squib device was faulty. Maybe it was supposed to geyser out. Maybe the t-shirt was supposed to be drenched in blood. And when you all jumped into your rehearsed places in line there to haul him away, it was so bizarre. Somebody had like a soft drink bottle in their back pocket. Oh yeah, you're really going to put the bottle in your back pocket as you're hauling somebody away to a car. And then the other thing you said, Frank, is that you couldn't close the back of the truck that you were in because Charlie was so tall that you couldn't close that hatch. Well, I don't know how old the car is, Frank, but if it's older than maybe if it's anywhere from a 2018 or 2019 or newer, a car won't drive with a door open. You can't even disable that. So, Frank, I'm looking for evidence and not lies, not deception. That's what I'm looking for. Oh, and by the way, where was he buried? When? Who attended the actual funeral? I'm not talking about the political rally in Arizona.
It's ridiculous. I didn't even know about it for probably 36 hours.
Oh, you didn't know about it for 36 hours. You didn't know about it for 36 hours. I'm glad that you made a mention of that exact time. Not I didn't even know about it for a day or two, or I didn't even, you're really thinking about the time now in the aftermath of your close friend not having his head blown off.
After the murder, or 30 hours after the
Oh,
murder?
maybe it was 30 hours. Yes, let's make sure we get that number in as well.
Just paying attention to the family. We were just paying attention to the friends. Didn't go on the internet much. When I finally meet my wife back in Phoenix, she goes, there are millions of people who think you were in conspiracy to kill Charlie. I'm like, what? That's crazy. So thanks to my friends, Elisa Childers and Seth Dillon.
You know that expression, the lady doth protest too much? Yeah.
And others, they tried to clear the air on that. You still have people saying, oh yeah, we need to check into this guy and this other guy too, the security guy. It's ridiculous.
So that's your answer, friends. It's ridiculous. There's no explanation. It's just ridiculous. And if you're thinking of conspiracies, you shouldn't.
So the first question, Charlie's presenting evidence for the gospel to a Mormon. That's one of the things that one of the questions that we had prepared for just before the event. And then he began to answer a question on trans violence. Someone was saying, oh, should we take guns away from trans people? Well, in light of what happened, the answer is yes.
Did you hear that? That's what I actually wanted to share with you. He says trans people should have the guns taken away just because they're trans. Now, friends, in years gone by, I've talked about my position on the gender issues, and that's not what I want to address here. What I want to address is the narrative that is going to be pushed by Christian conservatives like Frank Turek, saying that there should be more gun control. So let's hear that again now, shall we?
30 hours after the murder, we were in a bubble. We were just paying attention to the family. We were just paying attention to the friends. Didn't go on the internet much. When I finally meet my wife back in Phoenix, she goes, there are millions of people who think you were in conspiracy to kill Charlie. I'm like, what?
And remember, this is just a few days after his friend was so-called murdered.
Crazy. So thanks to my friends, Elisa Childers and Seth Dillon and others, they tried to clear the air on that. You still have people saying, oh yeah, we need to check into this guy and this other guy too, the security guy. It's ridiculous. So the first question, Charlie's presenting evidence for the gospel to a Mormon. That's one of the things that one of the questions that we had prepared for just before the event. And then he began to answer a question on trans violence. Someone was saying, oh, should we take guns away from trans people? Well, in light of what happened, the answer is yes.
I'll just leave that there for you, friends. I'll have a link for you in my Substack, peggyhall.substack.com. Now, on a lighter note, we will end here with this very cute YouTube channel. And I wanted to share this with you in my previous video about the deep fakes and the AI and so forth, because if you want to see how good AI is, it is incredible what they do, especially on this channel. And it's so darn cute. Let's see if, I think I shared this one with you previously. Oh my gosh, it's crazy how good this is. I mean, look at there. This looks so real to me. He's so cute, this little guy. So I'll leave this for you, friends, also. I think it's the cutest thing. I love to watch these videos. It puts me in a nice frame of mind, but it does show you it's all AI. And this looks so realistic. This looks far more realistic than that image they showed us of Charlie with his parents. I mean, at least here, the light and the shadows are accurate. You've got the right shadows coming off the tables and how they're moving and breathing. This is AI. So yes, what we're shown with these events, these so-called mass bang bang events that are designed to persuade Christian conservatives, in the case of Charlie Kirk, to go along with gun control, to go along with increased surveillance, to go along with digital tracking and all of that. They'll do it in the name of Charlie because they believe what they saw, just like people believed what they are seeing in the Middle East as well. Friends, unless I'm there seeing it with my own eyes, and even then it could be witchcraft and magic, because that's what they do. You can go to a show and they will cut a woman in half right before your eyes, put her back together again, pull rabbits out of hats, swallow swords, and all kinds of things that you know could not be true, but they look true because that's the nature of deception. Speaking of that, my friend and a healthy American, Pastor Kemble, on YouTube at KPAC Bible Church, is doing an entire series, a sermon series on deception. So if you are interested in hearing what the Bible has to say about that, that is your go-to channel. Thank you, everybody, for being on board. I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's broadcast.